All right, welcome back to the UJ Chevrolet pregame show. Todd Morris with you here on the Bulldog Radio Network, and it's time to sit down with UMS-Wright head football coach Terry Curtis for our pregame interview. And Coach, a tough loss in the season opener last week to St. Paul's, and some miscues here and there on offense, and a buster or two there on defense, and all of a sudden we lose our momentum, and we found ourselves in a 14-point deficit there coming out of halftime, and then trying to dig out of that hole. And but I thought overall we didn't play that bad.
Well, I thought we played better in the second half.
Yeah.
It seemed like we played a little nervous, a little scared. I'm not sure what it was. Like we just wasn't sure we need to be playing or whatever. And then they said, kind of like after half, said, I can play with these guys.
Right.
We were way outsized and so forth. But most of our drives, Todd, were stopped by us. A motion penalty. We had the fumble snap. Then we had the fumble on a first down run. Things that we control, not necessarily what they did. I think we had a good bit more yardage than they did.
Yep.
We were able to run the ball. We got to get better with our wideouts and all throwing the ball. We've got to get better with that. But we knew early on that was going to be a problem, especially with a new quarterback. And everybody talks about Joe, and he is a great athlete and all. But that was his first time to play quarterback.
Yep.
And even for him, the game at times was a little fast. Watching the film and so forth, he saw stuff that, I should got rid of that ball. He was open and stuff like that. So I think, going to get better from it. We got a ranked T.R. Miller team this week. But I did see some good stuff in the second half, and most of the mistakes, even on defense, the breakdowns, the touchdown pass, the stuff right there at half, it was more us not going where we were supposed to. Our linebackers wasn't reading guards, keys. They were going opposite of where they needed to be going about half the time. But you're talking about sophomores in there.
Yep.
But there were some good things to take from it, and hopefully they always say you're the best from week 1 to 2, so we'll find out.
Yep. In a high school game, especially, I don't know if it's just the way things are going right now, especially with us, with the way we run the football. I mean, we only had 7 possessions last week. Each team only had the ball 7 times, and when you have those little miscues like the fumbled snap or the drop ball in the backfield or whatever, just takes you out of your rhythm. And when you're only getting the ball 7 times, you got to be able to take advantage of those times when you do have it in the red zone.
Well, exactly. And where our defense didn't give up but 14 points, they kept the ball a long time. I mean, especially the first drive. We had to go and warm up again because I think there was about 5 or 6 minutes left in the quarter, and we've got to get some 3 and outs and get a few more, try to get into a rhythm. And it's hard to do that.
It is very much
when the other team, just like when we keep it 12 plays and all, it's hard to do anything. But I didn't know there was just 7. But I knew there wasn't many possessions in the whole game.
Yep.
And that's why I'm saying when you don't really have a guy other than Joe who can really go 70 or 80 yards, it's going to take you a while, and it's hard to make up a holding call,
right?
And having even a 1st and 20, and then you get a motion penalty on a 3rd and 3, I think it was, and now we got 3rd and 8.
Yep.
Now that changes your play calling, everything else.
Yep. And you've mentioned Joe, stepping in to play quarterback, had the big 73-yard run, which we talked about last week. You wanted to see Joe make plays, but we were only 2 of 8 throwing the football. What can you do, or what? We just had Brandon in here talking to him about for halftime. What can we do offensively to help Joe get into a better rhythm throwing the ball so we can stretch a team vertically a little bit?
Well, I thought we had some little boot passes, short passes to him to complete a couple.
Yeah.
And if you notice, the first one of the game we dropped, so that don't help. And then we had a play we thought we could go deep on him, and he was a little late throwing the ball. And the wideouts have got to do a better job of getting some separation. They played a little scared, and when we needed them to run a good route, they didn't really break it off like they needed to. But we worked on it hard this week because you're right. People are going to stack the box in there, and we've got to be able to throw it some, and hopefully we'll get better with that.
Well, you told me last week you were going to look at a play call sheet, and I don't think I ever saw that come out of your pocket last week.
Yeah.
It's
hard to do it.
Yeah,
it's hard to
know.
do it. You kind of get in the game. You know what you want to do. I'm changing up my play sheet again this week, and I know what plays want, but we're running them now out of so many different formations and motions. I need to look at the formations more so than what the play is. So I'm changing it up again. I talked to more people. I said, tell me about these formations in a good way. So I am changing the play sheet up again, and I do need to pay a little more attention to it.
You said it. I thought defensively, second half, we played much better. Talk about that cohesiveness that has to happen there between the D-line, the linebackers, and the defensive backs. Just inexperience showed there early on, not trusting what was going on in front of them. It just takes a while to get used to playing with each other.
Well, and you've got to do your job.
Right.
You can't worry about somebody else's job. You got to do their job. It's amazing when you don't do your job, that's where the ball seems to go. It's absolutely amazing that every time you do something wrong, that's where that ball goes. Right. When you don't cover the guy you're supposed to, that's who they throw to. I thought William Tanner played well. He saved us a couple of times. And for his first game, I thought Cappy Reed played hard. Some of the rest of them have got to get better. They've got to trust their keys. And that's the biggest thing with the young guys. They're used to kind of just running around making plays.
Right.
Looking in the backfield, see where the ball's going, and that's where it goes. They've never seen any of this faking this way and giving it back the other way. They've got to trust those guards. Those guards, they're not going to just keep pulling guards and giving you, fake reads all night. They may have that in there, but it's not going to be part of their offense. They're usually going to go.
Yep.
And we got turned around a little bit. They kept running power in there, and we had people going the wrong way and not fitting. We were probably a gap too wide in the line sometimes. And I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to get where they could get through those big guys.
Yep.
But yet you've got to play your gap and not worry about it. But we're playing a lot of young kids over there, and not necessarily sophomores or whatever, but guys who've never been on the field.
Right.
I think defensively, other night, for the most part, 9 of our guys, it was their first time to actually be the guy.
And take 40 or 50 snaps.
That's right. They played a little bit in spots, but 9 of them, that was their first time say, oh, I'm the person. I got to watch it here. So hopefully we'll get better there because that's what T.R. Miller's going to do. They're going to sit there and they're going to run it at you, and they're going to show you a lot of formations, and you've got to adjust to it. You got to line up right.
And I was just getting ready to go to that. T.R. Miller, another run-heavy team in the film that we've seen actually from already this year and what we've seen from them in the past. And so, we really don't have time to sit around and wait to get better. We've got to get better this week defensively. But we also have to do better, I think, and you just said it, controlling the ball, keeping the ball away from them offensively.
Yeah, because they're gonna pound it. They've got 2 or 3 running backs they play, and they're going to get unbalanced formations and we've got to be able to line up right, and we can't just sit there and let them have 4 or 5 yards.
Last non-region game this week before we go into 8 straight region games.
Everybody else, the region starts this week.
Yeah, everybody else is in region game,
the region game except for us.
Yep.
So it's good and bad. We get one more week to get better, and but then it's 8 straight weeks.
Yep, and some big games coming up here in
Quickly.
the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Quickly.
We don't want to talk about those yet. We'll get to those when we get T.R. Miller first tonight.
Exactly.
So you feel the team has had a good week of practice?
I think we've had a good week. I think they learned a lot from the film.
Yeah.
They were attentive. They knew they screwed up a good bit, and we've got to get better with some stuff. And I think it was a good working week. It wasn't no rah-rah stuff and got to do this and getting on people and all that. We just got to get better with what we're doing.
All right, Coach, that sounds good. Thanks for joining us here on the UJ Chevrolet pregame show. We always appreciate your time and look forward to hearing from you every week. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, game 2 of the 2023 season tonight here on the road in Bruton, Alabama. UMS-Wright and T.R. Miller coming up in just a minute. We'll be back with more of the UJ Chevrolet pregame show right here on the Bulldog Radio Network, Sports Talk, 99.5 Mobile, an iHeart radio station.